on January the 8th, 2026. We got some severe weather to talk about, some severe weather chances for this afternoon and evening, the 1st of 2026. So, taking a look at this, the way we're going to go over this is we're going to go over the SPC or the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, go over the timing right now that we have, and also the outlook for tomorrow. We're also going to go over some of the data behind that and talk a little more details. Feel free to, if you have any questions at the end of this, to leave them in the comments below, and we will get to them. We'll do a Q&A session at the end of this, and if we miss any after this is done streamed and posted on Facebook, feel free to still comment and ask questions. We will answer those throughout the day today. So talking about what we currently have right now, not a whole lot. We've had some rain, temperatures, it's been cloudy. It's going to continue to be cloudy. I want to say this first off, by all means. This is not a big severe weather threat. This is a marginal risk, which is that green colored, number 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. Very low threat. There is a very low tornado threat. It's very conditional. What that means is you may only have 1 or 2 storms across the state that go severe and may have that chance to produce tornadoes. Really, the whole state of Arkansas has an equal chance for that this afternoon and evening. It's not a big threat with this. And we have a low wind, damaging wind potential with that as well. The hail threat's not there, but we'll keep an eye on it if there is any there for that. So let's take a look at potential timing. First we're going to take a look at tomorrow's severe weather outlook. That is for Friday, tomorrow. Marginal risk there across portions, really southeastern portions of the coverage area. That's that green color, 1 out of 5, and then that slight risk, level 2 out of 5, low-end severe weather threat for Union County, the far southeastern corner of our coverage area. I think that's going to be the main threat for tomorrow on that. The tornado threat's down there in that slight risk. I don't think we see a whole lot tomorrow. I think most of our rain chances, and here's the thing, these are not going to be super big rain chances by all means. This isn't going to be a drought buster rain event, looking like it may make a small dent at most in it. We got to get some more rain chances and more activity before we really can start talking about drought busting rain and all of that fun stuff. But for tomorrow, I think the main severe threat is going to stay east of most of our coverage area, our far southern portion of our coverage area, and our far southeastern portions of our coverage area, I should say, would have the best threat down there in El Dorado and Union County. Taking a look at the potential timing, this is our first timing map for this event. Really, throughout, you can see this broken down into 3 color zones. Those colors don't represent a severe threat. That's just the timing zone. So if you're in that cyan or light blue colored area, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., that's Mena, Mount Ida, Hot Springs. And I would say take this. These are going to be moving in pretty much from northwest, west to east. So take that Mena, DeQueen, Ashdown, or really DeQueen, Mena areas. I'd say closer 4 to 5 p.m. possibly. You may see some rain and storms before this, but this is the overall severe threat. 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. through that time frame for that blue-colored area. And then there's some overlap there, but as we get into that darker blue, that's 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., and then that purple area is 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. And we'll go over the data here in just a minute to show you that with this. Actually, that's where we're going to go next with that. So let me pull that up here with the radar and talk about that. So here is the latest HRRR model. Once again, this is one model that shows shows reflectivity and what our future radar could possibly look like this evening. This, once again, model data isn't perfect. It's one of the many pieces of the puzzle of building a forecast. So just remember, we are going to watch that closely and see what changes with this, but we'll keep a close eye on that. So taking a look at this, this shows, once again, some showers, some storms, possibly around 2 p.m. And as we go throughout this afternoon, some more storms start to fire around that 5 p.m. time frame. The 15Z run was a little stronger on this. The 16Z run kind of weakens this some and shows some development of these storms right here around 5 p.m. And most of our area, there's going to be some area C rain. You may have these just hit or miss there across the region. and these are going to move through our area overnight, or not overnight, but really through this evening. And the biggest question we have with this, you hear us mention this all the time, there is something called a cap. And that cap in the atmosphere, if that holds, you're not going to see much storms today. The biggest thing is, will these storms be able to break through that cap? Will they be able to will they be able to get surface based? And that's getting surface based is if they break through that cap, and there's some other details I can go into, but I'm going to save that for you. If they can get surface based, they're going to carry that greatest severe weather potential and possibly that conditional tornado threat. Once again, though, that's very dependent on if these can break that cap this afternoon, and if they do, that will help us with that severe weather potential. Although it's still very low end threat, you can see here by 10 p.m. pretty much east of the I-30 corridor, and this just continues to move on through the region overnight tonight, and then we start to get towards tomorrow, which we'll take a look at the North American model for tomorrow. I think I was right around here. Okay, well, that's overnight tonight. And then we're still going to see some more rain tomorrow. And you can see that shows you some rain chances throughout the day tomorrow. And into, let's see here. Let me actually go back up here, and I'm going to look at an earlier. Well, I said, let's actually take a look at this together. We just had a new run of the HRRR come in as I was looking at this. So this is the newest 17Z run. So let's see what it shows. Still showing some possible storm development later that afternoon. And then it's not fully there yet, but it does show some storms firing there across southwest Arkansas by that 9 p.m. time frame. So it's going to be really the time frame to watch is going to be this afternoon into this evening. Like I said, this is a very conditional threat. The whole state has really a good, just a conditional chance of severe weather, or conditional chance of severe weather and potential for an isolated tornado or two. I'm not expecting widespread severe weather, but that this just continues to show that, hey, there's some storms that start to develop this afternoon and evening. Will these, the biggest question is, and this is going to be something we have to just keep an eye on and keep watching as the event goes on today, will these develop into mature thunderstorms and go surface based? If they do, they carry that greater severe weather potential. If they don't, though, I think we see scattered, some hit or miss / scattered showers throughout the day or throughout the evening. Maybe a thunderstorm or two with those as well. So that's going to be very dependent on what happens with that. You can see later that near 9 p.m. we have a few storms that try to fire off there across that region. Real quickly here, let's jump into, let me pull this back up, and let's take another look at one of our other models, which let's take a look at this. This will take us into tomorrow. This is the same HRRR model that we just used. This is a little earlier run, but this is just going to show for the rest of the day today, shows those storms moving through. And then as we go into tomorrow, kind of can see some more storms developing late tomorrow and some rainfall, but not a whole lot for us there across the region. Another model I want to look at, this is a little bit of a what you would consider an experiment, more of a prototype model from the National Weather Service. This is the RFS model, and let's see what it shows. It's showing picking up a decent idea on the same picture right there around 4 or 5 p.m.-ish. You see some storms starting to develop, and this has that cap breaking, and maybe right there before 6, 7 p.m.-ish, you can kind of see it just showing these just a few hit or miss storms that get going. And if they can get through that cap and that cap goes away, which is pretty much like a lid on a water bottle. Think of a Coke bottle. You shake it up, all that pressure is built up, and if that cap loosens, you know what you have. And that's how that's one of the ways storms work. If they get through that cap, you can see here they will. There's some that could possibly that could mature and have that severe threat. That's across the whole state. So don't necessarily take this as, oh, hey, Pike County's going to have that over their area at this time. This can still move. This can still, this can change. just get the general idea. We could have a few storms develop, and if they go severe, or if they can break through that cap and go severe and go surface based, they carry an isolated tornado potential, not a widespread event. I want to make that very, very clear. But that shows you that similar scenario for with that. Another thing I want to talk about is why are we seeing this, and what's the reason for this. Let's talk a little more about that. So what we have here is the SBC Mesoanalyst. This is going to get a little more technical here, but we have at the surface this low pressure system over Kansas, and that's helping bring some of that dew point further north across our region. As we go further into the upper atmosphere, 500 millibars, which is 18,000 feet up, you can kind of see here we have this dip in this a dip with these winds. These colors here are your wind speeds in the upper atmosphere, and we have this dip. That's considered a trough. What we have over us, over us today, is what's considered a short wave, just almost a tinier trough ahead of the main trough, I guess you could call it in simple terms. And that has moved off from Texas. You can see, or Oklahoma and Texas. You can see that back off over the coast of California yesterday, and that has continued to move, just made its way to our area and through our area. We're not under the best flow for that, so that's kind of why we're not having as great of a severe weather potential. But there's still a severe weather threat there with that. So I'll answer any questions now that we have. I know we have had a few questions. So anything severe for the Foreman area? Let's talk about that. So Foreman, you're right on the border of the marginal risk. Once again, this is very isolated severe threat potential, very conditional. So you're in the marginal risk. You're going to have to keep a close eye on it this afternoon and evening. Like we said, if this is pretty much for most of the area, if storms can get their act together, they carry that severe potential. Timing wise, let's take a look at that real quick. For the Foreman area, I'd say closer to 4 to 5 p.m. time frame, maybe a little closer to 6. And let's see, for Prescott, same thing for you. Pretty much all of the coverage area has that potential, and we got to keep a close eye on that for if any storms can get their act together, I should say there. If they do, they carry that severe weather potential. Timing-wise, Prescott, you may see storms before 7 p.m., but I think the main severe threat is going to be closer to that 7 p.m. time frame, maybe closer to 10 p.m. time frame. This is going to be, you're going to have some storms that develop there, or develop across the region. Where they develop at is going to be big determining on who sees what. And I see that asking about umpire and derricks. We'll combine those two. Same thing for you. Probably a little earlier in the day, and also by taking a look probably at the current radar real quickly. I'm going to pull that up here in just a minute. Yeah, I will say I think we are going to have some storms move through here shortly in the Polk County area. This is part of that line that's coming through. I think we see some storms there. They're not severe at this time, but you can kind of see that line of storms that were severe earlier for northeast Oklahoma. They have moved into northwest Arkansas. Looks like we may have some clip Polk County there here shortly. Some storms. They're not severe at this time. Elsewhere, we do have rain right now, but to answer that question about umpire and derricks, you may have some more storms earlier throughout the afternoon, but I really think the main time frame is going to be that 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. time frame. I think you're going to be done with this before the overnight time frame there in derricks and umpire. We're going to watch that closely, though. So if there's any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. We'll get to them, but overall, this is not a major severe threat. I want to make that very clear. This is a conditional marginal risk, 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. It's a risk, it's a chance, it's very low, but it's still worth mentioning. Biggest thing is how many storms can get going, and will they be able to get their act together. With that being said, we'll have to watch that and see. I see that asking about the Harrison area. Let's talk a little bit about that as well, real quick. Um, uh, Give me one moment here. So up there in that region, you're going to see some storms here in just a few minutes. Let me pull back up the radar. You do have some storms moving through. They're not severe at this time, but pretty much the whole state really has that same general idea with that severe weather potential. You'll watch these closely. That's outside of our coverage area, but what I will suggest is the Arkansas Weather Network. That's another great source for weather information. Make sure to check them out if you don't already. Same thing for all of our followers as well. As always, during these severe events, have multiple ways to receive warnings. That's the biggest thing. Have multiple ways to receive warnings. Have multiple sources for your weather information when it comes to coverage and stuff like that. Just in case something happens, you have a backup plan. Know what to do in case of severe weather. January through, I would say, about April or May is our most active time of the year. So just make sure you have know what to do just in case. It's always good to go back over those plans. It's been a bit since we've last had an actual severe weather potential here recently, but for the Harrison area, expect some rain and some thunderstorms here within the next probably hour or so. Once again, that severe potential, we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Let's actually take a look at that HRRR model, which is still showing those kind of in a way behind. But those storms are going to move through up there, and really after that, you're probably going to be done with your threat up there, Harrison, probably by the earlier in this afternoon. And you're very welcome. And as always, up there, like I said, looking at that data, I think you're going to be done with that up there. But done with that up there here soon. Let's back this back up to go over what this newest model run's showing. Like I said, this is pretty much just new. Just come in really here in the last few minutes as we are going over model data. So taking a look at this has some storms, like we said. And here's the thing, data is going to jump back and forth with things with these type of setups. And usually the HRRR model, it kind of lags behind on some details with this type of setup. But you kind of see, you get the idea. We get one or two storms that form and they try to get their act together and get going. Really, the general idea is most areas are going to probably see some hit or miss showers and thunderstorms. If a thunderstorm can get its act together, it carries that severe potential and a conditional tornado threat and some gusty winds. I don't think we see a large hail threat, but we'll watch that closely. And those move out, and overnight we see some rainfall over southeast Arkansas, and then tomorrow's event moves in, which is mainly over this corner of the state. Well, that's a little bit too big of a circle, but really over this corner of the state. We do have a small risk across our area, but it does not include a tornado risk, only for the Union County area for tomorrow. We'll cover that if there is anything to cover for tomorrow. I still expect us to see some rainfall and showers, and we should be done with that. That move to a more cooler time frame over the weekend with some cooler temperatures to put us closer to normal for this time of year, with highs in the 50s and lows in the 20s this weekend, with some clear and drier conditions. Once again, though, we still can't get rid of those drought conditions quite yet. I don't think we have any other questions, and if that's the case, we're going to go ahead and end the live stream here. As always, when we go into this afternoon, we will start our live nonstop severe weather coverage over on YouTube, so that'll have all your that'll play radar, and if there is any storms that we feel the need to break into coverage for, we will go in there and just do what we're doing right here, going over the storms, talking about those storms, and that will automatically happen on YouTube. We will also go live on Facebook if there's any storms that we feel the need to go live for. That's just one of those that notification gets sent out and you had to find. But if you're sitting there on that radar, or you have something sitting on that radar, which on YouTube, if you got a smart TV, you can play it on there, have it playing throughout the day if you're not watching TV or anything of that nature. And if we do break into coverage, we will that'll automatically happen over there on YouTube. So make sure to check that out. And as always, we'll be here ready to track these storms. First severe weather event in 2026. Once again, not a big severe weather threat, but there is a chance of severe weather, and we're going to cover it for you. As always, we want to say big thanks to all of our sponsors for helping make this possible: Patterson's Credit Union, Southern Dumpster Rental, Landmark Insurance Agency, Palmer's Roofing, and J&S Auto Supply Bumper to Bumper. Make sure to check them all out over on their social media platforms, and also make sure to contact them in case you're in need of any of the things that they provide. So have a great rest of your afternoon, and if we have to go live, we'll see you again. If we don't, have a good rest of your day. And as always, thank you guys very much for trusting us right here with your source for all things Southwest Arkansas weather. And a big thank you, as always, to all of those who follow us as well. Couldn't do it without you.